hoping that somebody would join me in the internet.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm Vanessa Denny. I'm the director over at Early College High School, and I'm glad that you're here this afternoon. What I am going to do really quickly is I'm just going to mute all of the participants. Zoom likes to have a lot of feedback if we don't do that. So if you have a question at any point, we're such a small group, just feel free to unmute yourself and just ask a question. We don't need to hold questions till the end because there's just 3 of us here, so we can have a nice little conversation. So this is Early College High School. We're located on the Palmer campus of Trident Tech College. We opened in August of 2017. So this is we have 1 full semester under our belts. It's been an exciting year. The board actually approved our existence in April. So from April to August, we got to hit the ground running and open up a school that I think is a pretty special place. So our vision at Early College High School is that students will earn a high school diploma and complete some associate's degree work simultaneously. I'm not sure what this blue is on my screen. Let me try to get rid of it. Oh, there we go. I'm learning Zoom as I go. Look at this. So they can work on their associate's degree work simultaneously. We offer a really small learning environment. We will never, ever grow beyond 400 students, and that's incredibly intentional. All of our students have Google Chromebooks, so we are a one-to-one implementation school. In addition to just making content really easy to access and store, we also take advantage of that one-to-one technology by providing students some targeted interventions when and if they need them that are really customized to just that student's need. It's a really exciting time to be in education. Way back when I was in the classroom all those years ago, we had to sort of target and customize instruction on our own, and now it's really at our fingertips. So I think it's something we need to take advantage of and use. We think that we are where opportunity meets access. And what I mean by that is students access their college classes, they have the opportunity to take them, but they're also accessing simultaneously the supports that they need to be successful. When I was an assistant principal at a traditional high school, I would shake the student's hand on graduation day, hand them their diploma, and say a little prayer. And it wasn't until Thanksgiving time when they came back to visit that I knew how they were doing. Well, here we have the opportunity to see how they're doing right with us immediately. We like to remove the barriers, and we're a direct pathway to student goals. What we know is that 90% of the students who attend Early College High School have the goal of attending a 4-year university. After high school, about 10% of our students want to take advantage of the certification programs that Trident offers, and will develop, customized courses of study for those students and use the Trident course of study for them. So our mission's on the screen for you. Early College High School will develop intellectually confident and independent people who seize opportunity to continually better themselves, their communities, and the world. We took a while to craft that mission statement, and we really think that our students continually better themselves and by and large this community because they are a part of it, and we can't wait to see the impact they have on the world as they go out. Of course, we could do none of this without a strong partnership with Trident Tech. I work directly with Dr. Lou Robinson, who you see pictured. She is the dean of the Palmer campus. She and I touch base at least weekly. I also work directly with her assistant dean, Dr. Amy Hudak. And then I'm in very close contact with the dean of the Division of School and Community Initiatives for Trident. Her name is Melissa Stowasser. And Tanisha Hook is the dual credit coordinator, and that group of ladies make a very supportive team. I have not asked for anything that they haven't either tried to accommodate or, figure out how to accommodate. In some cases, they'll ask me if I need things before I even ask them. So it's a fabulous partnership. So there are about 250 to 275 early colleges nationally. That number ranges because early colleges are each defined a little bit differently. It was an initiative that started around 2002 out of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And they have great results nationwide. So nationally, our graduation rate hovers in the 60s. Early colleges demonstrate a graduation rate of 90% or better. 70% of students who attend early colleges graduate with some college credits. 30% graduate having earned a full associate's degree. 71% enroll in college after high school, and the average graduate earns 38 credits. So obviously those are pretty strong results nationally. We've got some results of our own after our little one semester in the history books. 53% of our students earned a GPA of 3.0 or higher, which we're pretty proud of. They've worked really hard. AccuPlacer is one of the vehicles that students use to meet entrance requirements for Trident Tech. And you can see at the end of their first semester of their freshman year in high school, we have students who are already demonstrating college readiness scores. And what I mean by that is, you know, you have your 100 level courses. Those are your remedial courses that will not transfer to another university. In other words, you complete those courses because you have to get to the next course, but they're not necessarily, or they're not at all, a part of any degree program. They're strictly there for remediation. You start to earn credits toward degrees and credits that will transfer to four-year universities when you get into your 101, 120 level courses. So these scores were achieved by our freshman students, and they demonstrate that these students are ready for those 101, 120 level courses. We feel really good about that. Math is a weakness across the district, and we've got a plan to address that. We've just hired for next year a teacher who is an adjunct professor at Trident and teaches those 100 level classes that are remediation classes, and she's going to provide those classes and that intervention to our students if they need it. The good news is that we knew that the data showed that math was a weakness across the county, so our students are not going to enter their first dual credit math classes until their junior year. So we do have a little while to prepare for that. Students will begin to enter classes that do require the reading, comprehension, and the sentence skills in the fall. So we're gearing up for that now. We in fact sent home dual credit applications just this week. They're due back before spring break. This is something we're incredibly proud of. Across the state of South Carolina, students are required to take end of course exams in 4 areas. Those 4 areas are Algebra 1, Biology 1, English 1, and U.S. History Constitution. Traditionally, at a traditional high school, a freshman student would take Algebra 1 over the course of 1 year. Here at Early College High School, we provide Algebra 1 to our freshman students over the course of 1 semester. Biology 1 is traditionally taken again over the course of a year, and it is traditional to see sophomore level students in biology. We provide biology to our first semester freshmen. English 1 is traditionally a freshman level class, and sometimes we see that offered in a year or in a semester, but if you'll note, our pass rate on English 1 was quite remarkable at 98%. So I think it's important to realize that these are the accomplishments of 14 and 15-year-old students in 1 semester. And we're quite proud of these numbers. So these are our current demographics. We're proud of our diversity as well. I want to take a minute though to let you know that of the 100 students that we originally accepted at the beginning of the year, we currently have about 81 students still in our building, exactly 81 students still in our building. We lost a handful of students to, unanticipated moves out of the state or out of the county, things that couldn't be helped. But I really want to talk to you about fit right now, because we did lose about 15 students very quickly into the school year because early college high school was not the right fit for the student. And I think that that's an okay conversation to have. And I want to let you know that we don't believe that we are the right fit for every student. The reason being is that we do start our students off with 4 core content area courses. They don't have any, what my kids call breaks. I would call them mental breaks. So they don't have any of those classes that they can just sail through. All of their classes require some thought and some hard work, and they have 4 of them right away. And so the expectation is set at a very high level. The other piece that I think is important to discuss when we're talking about fit is sort of the physical layout of our campus. We are not on our own campus. We rent space from Trident Tech, and so we exist on a college campus. Therefore, we don't have the things that you might expect in a traditional high school. We don't have a gymnasium. We don't have a cafeteria. All of that looks really different. And if your student is not prepared for those realities when they get here, then they're going to be surprised by them. This year, we do intend to hold students to their commitment. So if they make a commitment to attend early college high school, we hold them to that commitment for the entire year, because these seats at early college high school, in my mind, represent a lottery ticket. It's free college, 2 years of college for free. And if we occupy that lottery ticket, that seat with one student, it prevents us from giving it to another student. And so we really feel that we have a duty to make sure that this opportunity is provided to the right students that really want it, not that they'll come and fill 15 seats and then for the rest of the year will remain vacant. At this point, our course structure is so aggressive that we would not be able to fill those vacancies with sophomores from another school, because they would not have the courses that they need. Our students do take so many of their core content area classes so quickly. So that's my little soapbox about commitment and fit, and I think it's an important conversation for parents to have with students before they decide to apply and before they decide to attend. It's an important conversation. Is early college high school the right fit for you? I want to talk about parent communication. Parent communication is something that's really, really very important to me. I send out a weekly update each Sunday, and in that update, all the parents get the nuts and the bolts. So if you're like me, and sometimes I'll realize that in the morning, I'll decide that I need to call my daughter's school about this or that, and by the time I realize it, the day has passed, school is closed, and I haven't had 2 seconds to myself to pick up the phone and make a phone call. So in that event, if you're at early college high school, you'll still have an email that will let you know at least what's going on on a general basis. I make regular phone calls home to parents. Parents make regular phone calls to me. We encourage our parents to use the Power School Parent Portal. We schedule appointments as needed, as do our parents. I stress that we have an open door policy, and I stress this to our teachers, to our school counselor. I don't need parents to call and set up an appointment to meet with me unless you want to. You can if you want to, but if you're here and you need to sit down and have a chat and I'm not in another meeting, come on in. We are servant leaders here first, and that is something that I stress to a point. My cell phone is right there on screen, and that's really intentional. I want all the kids to have my cell phone number. I want all the parents to have my cell phone number, and I want you to feel comfortable using it. We had an issue on one of our school buses. It wasn't an issue related to student behavior or anything like that. Something happened out in the community, and the kids saw it, and it didn't rest easy with them. And I think by the time that bus got home to the last stop, I had about 16 phone calls coming in from different kids. You know, they were beeping, Miss Denny, I just need to tell you this, I just need to tell you that. And that's the way we want to operate. So let's talk about transportation now that I've talked about school buses. We use the magnet school busing system provided by the county. Stops are located no more than 5 miles from the student's residence. Transportation to and from the stops is the responsibility of the family. So that's very standard for any magnet school in the county. Meals are provided free of charge. Breakfast and lunch are both brought in. They're prepared at the Buse cafeteria. They're brought to our school. Students have what we like to call select seating. And my kids joke and tease with me, and they tell me that that's saying it really nicely. And basically what that means is we don't have a cafeteria. So we find some pretty interesting places to eat. We do have benches that line all of the hallways here at Trident Tech. And so our students sit on those benches very similarly to the way a college kid would waiting for a class. And if they'd like to eat their lunch there, they can. They can also select to eat outside. We've got some picnic benches in the sunshine, and that's a really popular place for our students to gather during lunch. We also have 3 classrooms that are open, and each classroom serves a very different purpose. One classroom is our social classroom. The kids can play board games and whatnot in there and just enjoy each other's company. Another classroom is a quiet classroom. They're welcome in there, but the only condition is they have to be quiet. It's kind of like the quiet car on the train. And then we have a 3rd classroom that's open for lunch, and that's where we have extra help available. And you would not believe me if I said we don't use that as a detention. It's never something that is assigned by an adult, but it is always full. We always have students who just want to eat in there with our teachers that are there for extra help and support, and they're furiously doing homework and asking questions, and it's a really magical thing because it is student driven. So that's one of my favorite rooms to visit during lunch. As I walk around, I try to get to each of the areas every day. It's just a good time to visit with kids. So students participate in sports and extracurricular activities through their home schools because we are a program school. So what that means is basically we don't have what's called a BEDS code. A BEDS code is like a school's social security number, if you will. Until we have one, our students will all be attached to their home schools in Power School. And so for now, they can participate in sports and extracurricular activities at their home school. And we've made arrangements to have our buses stop at each of the home schools in the afternoon. Our dismissal is at 2:25, so our kids should get to their home schools in time for those practices and whatnot to begin. This is the Palmer campus. The gray area that you see right here is parking. This is our current hallway. We have 5 classrooms, 1 conference room, and 1 office suite on this side of the hall, and this is where we spend the majority of our time. Our students are in all high school classes right now, so they are in these classrooms on this hall. Next year we'll expand to 4 more classrooms, and we will expand around the corner to this side of the hall. So we kind of have our own little wing of the campus, which is nice because it gives our students this little protective bubble. You know, the college kids do come through on their way back and forth to class, but our kids are on campus, they're exposed to the campus, they're exposed to everything here, but they also have a little bubble where they feel comfortable, especially for those 9th graders. So our course sequence is, as I mentioned earlier, very aggressive in terms of getting our core content area of class credits completed as soon as possible. We did have 1 student this year who was eligible to take dual credit. There were some other barriers in terms of what time the bus got here and what time the class started that we will not have next year, but for the most part, the vast majority of students will be in all high school credit bearing classes in their 9th grade year. They'll start taking 2 classes each semester in their sophomore year. at the college level. And so primarily they'll be in high school classes, but they will have 2 dual credit courses per semester. Our goal is to have students complete their high school credit requirements by the second semester of their junior year in high school. And then in the 12th grade year, they should be taking all dual credit classes, all college classes. We have a really important component at our school, and that's called AVID, and that's an acronym. It stands for Advancement via Individual Determination. And AVID teaches skills and behaviors for academic success. It provides students with a tutorial period twice a week where we have volunteer tutors come in. It really fosters strong teacher to student relationships and positive peer group relationships. What we know, I get a lot of questions about class size. And I always tell parents that the research doesn't support that larger class sizes at the secondary level impacts achievement. But what the research very much supports is that a student's connectedness to their high school environment increases achievement, and that an effective teacher is the single greatest indicator of a student's level of achievement, regardless of the level of achievement that they had previously. So I think those 2 things really support having, obviously, very strong faculty members, which we do here, and having those strong relationships, whether they be peer-to-peer relationships or teacher-to-student relationships. And we're really proud of the way our students behave here and interact with each other. I was at a middle school, and they were asking me questions about, torties and discipline and this and that and the other. And all, I had been a middle school assistant principal for several years, so it was sort of a blast from the past. But these things are just not a part of the culture at early college high school. We don't have bullying here. The kids will tell you we don't have bullying here. We don't have tardies here because the kids are not tardy. They're just in class when they're supposed to be in class. We don't have referrals here because the kids just don't do anything to deserve getting one. Obviously we have systems in place in case we need to respond to something, but it's just not a part of our everyday routine, and it's just not a part of our daily culture. So the positive peer groups, the strong teacher-student relationships, I think, are really the determining factor for the great student culture that we've built. Students who are accepted are required to attend Summer Bridge, which is 2 half-day sessions on August 8th and 9th. And we do have an optional parent orientation, which will be held on August 8th at 5 p.m. And that brings me to questions. What you can do if you have a question is on your screen, there should be a mechanism for you to raise your hand, or you can just unmute yourself and ask the question. So at this time, I'm going to pause and see if you have any questions.
Hello?
Yes.
Hi there. The only question I have, I guess, is more so centered around the curriculum.
Yes.
So I understand the point at which they start taking college level classes and how the entire senior year will essentially be college level classes, but are these just general education classes? So it's not actually that they will complete an associate degree in a specific area, but this would essentially be the prerequisite that would lead to a bachelor's degree?
So the answer to the question is yes and yes. And let me explain what I mean by that. They will be completing an associate's degree, okay? So that's first. They will be completing an associate's degree, but there are 2 associate's degrees that are used for the purpose of being a prerequisite to a bachelor's degree program. So those 2 degrees are the Associate of Arts and the Associate of Science. So they'll go into their bachelor's degree program with up to potentially 60 credits that are requisite credits for their degree. Does that make sense?
Okay, that makes sense. Yes.
And then if a student had a goal that wasn't a goal of attending a 4-year university, we would figure out which certification associate's degree, that student should work toward. But they will be, in any event, working toward an associate's degree.
And what time does school start in the morning?
Next year, it'll start at 7:45. Any other questions? All right, well, with that, I thank you for joining the Zoom today. And if you have any further questions,